everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. Today I'm going to be updating you on what I've been up to lately because a lot has happened. I've launched my new collection, I've been to Red Post for a meet and greet. Also, I've got some updates on the horses because you guys know I've been away in Nice. I've actually had a holiday for once, so I'm going to be chatting a lot about what I got up to on my holiday. Of course, I have some interesting and embarrassing stories to tell you. But before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. And as I said before, I went there literally a few days ago. So I did my meet and greet there. I had so much fun. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who came along to the meet and greet. So many of you guys that came up said that you guys love the podcast and love listening to it or listen to it in the car on the way down. So yeah, thank you for all the love. You guys are amazing. And I just had such a lovely day. I just sat down. Red Post, as you guys know, have a cafe. I feel like I go on about it all the time, but they have the best milkshakes, cakes, ice cream, that kind of thing. So they were like, Esme, unlimited snacks today. So I had a great day with all the snacks, great day meeting you guys, chatting, that kind of thing. I had a spectacular time at Red Post. So yeah, just lots of fun. And also, oh yeah, I can't, words. Sorry, I've lost the words. I almost forgot that it was also to celebrate the launch of my new collection, which I did talk a little bit about in the last episode, but it was so cool because I arrived and they had this whole tent gazebo thing outside with all of the collection, and that was the first time I kind of saw it all in the wild, but also all together, because the way it kind of works with my job is often things just come in like I get bits and bobs come through for like product testing, that kind of thing. But to see like all of it together out in a shop, that was a very pinch me moment. So yeah, I just want to say also a big thank you to all of you guys for all of the love and support on the collection. So many people said so many lovely things about it in the comments and in person. So that was really lovely to see. But yes, no, had a good old time. We always do this thing where we often stay in a hotel near where Stonehenge is before I go to Red Post because it's a little bit far away for us. But I always find it so funny because I just always forget that Stonehenge is a thing because I don't know why, because it was a very touristy hotel that we ended up going. There's a lot of it like American tourists there that are all obviously very excited to see Stonehenge, and like the whole hotel is very cool. It's like got lots of Stonehenge artwork. But I don't know, like in the UK, I feel like a lot of people in the UK have like been there. Like I've been there, done the little museum, looked at it, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I kind of forget that, you know, the stones are so old. Like I'm pretty sure like they're a similar age to like the pyramids in Egypt, but to us they're just, I don't know, maybe it's because there's like a main road that kind of goes quite near it. So for us, it's like our little landmark, like, oh, we're on the way to Red Post, or oh, we're on the way to World Horse Welfare, which is also over there, which is the one that we got Duke from. But yeah, it's like just like a little landmark. I always forget, you know, all the kind of history and stuff behind it. But anyway, that was a very off-topic thing, but I just found it funny because I can't remember what video it was. There was some sort of clip I saw on the internet, and it was an American asking a UK content creator, like, oh, have you ever been to Stonehenge? And the UK person was like, what? Like most of the time, like people like think when they think of England or London, they think of, you know, Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, the London Eye, like that kind of thing, like those sort of landmarks. But I don't know, I just feel like in the UK, everyone always forgets about Stonehenge, so this is my little segment on Stonehenge for you all. But anyway, had a spectacular time at Red Post. And yeah, anyways, let's get on to what I've been up to lately apart from that. So, as you guys know, I had I actually took some time off work. I actually took some time to go away, have a chill. I always think it's good to take time off because you guys know, I love the horses. I love doing what I do with the social media, but every now and again, you just need a little break, a little holiday, and it's one of those things where I just feel so lucky that while I'm away, it makes me excited to come back to the horses and to you guys. And I was like, to be fair, when I was going on my holiday, I was thinking, oh, this will be a funny story to tell the podcast. So I switched off quite a lot. You know, I was like, Dad, you're going to take the wheel. You're going to be looking after my social media for me while I'm away. He was also looking after the horses for me while I was away. And this weekend, I have just uploaded a video that it was so funny. So it started off as a joke. I was like, okay, Dad, while I'm away, because we're not going to be able to film a video this week because I'm on holiday, how about you film a video of you looking after the horses and do like a dad takes over my channel kind of thing. And I thought he was going to be like, no, because most of the time, you guys know, my dad, he likes to be behind the camera. He doesn't like to be in front of it. So I thought he was going to be like, very funny, that kind of thing. I was like, actually, Ez, that's a really good idea. So I come home and he's filmed a whole YouTube video, and he did like a little helmet cam thing because he was like, I don't want my face to be in it, but you can see my hairy arms. So I came home to a YouTube video, filmed, edited, that kind of thing, just sat down and watched it, and oh my gosh, I was proper like cry laughing at one point. So, and also you guys absolutely loved that video. I've been reading through the comments, and like some of them are so funny, and you guys are so cute. You're like, protect this man at all costs, and I love it. So anyway, it's making me think I need to go on holiday more often. Like, forget about me. You guys seem to prefer my dad. No, don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. But it does make me think, maybe in the winter if I go on holiday for like a week or something, gonna have to do like a winter version of dad looking after the horses, because I feel like that'll be even more funny, because obviously the morning routine, or like the routine of looking after the horses in the summer, is very different to the winter. And in the winter, it's not as nice. As you guys know, if you're horsey or country, you know that we do get a lot of mud. So that could be interesting. I mean, as you guys can probably see, my dad is very well trained up with looking after the horses. So I'm very lucky to have him. So thank you, Dad, for looking after the horses for me while I was away. So yes, if you haven't checked out that video, go and watch it after the podcast, because it's a funny one and you guys really liked it. So, and also it's kind of, it's interesting seeing the horses being a little bit cheeky and that kind of thing. So anyway, I should probably get on to talking about my trip away to Nice and what I got up to with that. So I went on a girls trip. This is actually my first kind of like girls trip that I've been on, because I guess before the pandemic I was kind of a child. And now I'm an adult, and we're all kind of at the stage where we were like, to be fair, there was one point on the trip when we were like, if we did this girls trip 2 or 3 years ago, it would have been a bit chaotic. We would have been a little bit more scared, a little bit more terrified. I was like, this friend wouldn't have come. This friend would have had a panic attack. This friend, it wouldn't have been great. But we're all a little bit older now, and I just feel very lucky to have such a lovely group of friends where there was like no drama, no kind of like, I don't know, there was no arguments. And not that I have arguments with my friends regularly, but everybody, they say if you can travel with a friendship group or travel with someone and, the friendship or the relationship or whatever comes out at the end of it, then you're solid. Because I don't know, maybe it's just me seeing all these videos on my For You page being like, when the trip made it out of the group chat, but the group didn't make it out of the trip, and it's like there's been some sort of drama or some sort of falling out or something that's gone on. So we were a group of 5 that went, which I feel like is a really good number, because I feel like if it was any bigger, it would have been a little bit like herding cats, trying to get everyone ready on time, everyone like happy with the decision of what we were doing that day, where we were going, how much money we were spending, that kind of thing. But also, if the group was any smaller, it wouldn't have felt as much like a party. It would have felt like, I don't know. And also we felt very safe being in a group of 5 as well, especially being like an all-girl kind of trip, being in a foreign country, that kind of thing. I mean, we were in France. It's a very safe country. It's not like we were going anywhere else. But anyway, so we had a very, very lovely time. So we flew out on Sunday evening. We had like an evening flight, which I can't lie, evening flights always scare me a little bit, because as you guys know, I'm very, very lucky with my job to do a lot of travel, and there have been a few times where my plane has been cancelled or delayed or something's gone wrong, and whenever a plane or a flight has been cancelled, it's always been an evening flight. Because if it's a day flight, I have had day flights where it's been postponed from like really early in the morning to the afternoon, and you basically just have a morning hanging around in an airport, which is a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, there are far worse problems to have in this life. But an evening flight, if, something goes wrong with the plane, which I would much rather have to stay in a hotel overnight than get on a plane and the plane goes down because something is wrong. So yes, sometimes I'm like, you know what? This ain't great, but it could be a blessing in disguise. You never know. But yeah, evening flights, a lot of the time, if like a crew member is ill or they don't have enough crew or something goes wrong on the plane, they're like, okay guys, let's pack it up. Let's not, no, we're not going any later, because who wants to be hanging around at an airport at like 2 a.m. But anyway, so yes, our flight was delayed, but we did get there in the end, so that was all good. It was only delayed by like an hour, which to me, like, that's barely delayed at all. So anyway, we got there, we went for a little walkabout in the evening, we got ice cream, like priorities on your holiday. You got to get your ice cream. So I feel like if you guys want to know what my go-to ice cream flavour is, because I have actually had this question asked to me once before, and I feel like I'm a bit of an ice cream nomad. I kind of go for a different ice cream each time, depending on the flavour, especially if you're at a sort of, because it was a very kind of seaside holiday touristy destination, there were a lot of ice cream places, so they had some really cool flavors that I'd never really seen before or were like a little bit more unusual. So I saw one and it was a violet flavored ice cream, which I feel like would be a bit like Parma violets, the like sweets, which some people call grandma sweets, but I actually really like them. And then what else? There was a melon one. That was quite cool. Didn't go for those ones in the end. My go-to is probably, I love a raspberry ripple or a cherry ice cream. That's my go-to. Or controversial, but I do like a mint choc chip. I know it's not for everyone, but I really like dark chocolate as well, actually. So there we go. I think, what else did I have? I had a white chocolate ice cream, actually, while I was out there as well. So they were my ice cream. I think it's going to sound like I had loads of ice cream. I mean, I did have a lot of ice cream. But I feel like when you're on holiday, you got to have your daily ice cream. Anyway, so yeah, first evening was just kind of like a walking about at night, went to the beach, had a little explore. And it's always funny when you arrive in a foreign country at night and the next morning it always looks so different, or somewhere that you've never been before. So yeah, what did we do on our first day? So actually we were it was a little bit sad, because we were like, okay, perfect, we'll go to the south of France, it'll be nice and warm, we'll actually get some sun, because in the UK it rains a lot, as you guys know. But we arrived there and it was raining, and you know what? In the UK, it was the hottest, sunniest week we've had this year, and it was a heat wave. So we were like, oh my gosh, you have got to be kidding me that we go away and it rains. But at the end of the trip, we did have some heat. It did get very hot. It did get very sunny. And all of my friends, all of us, we are not designed for the heat. We are not designed for the sun. So we were like, actually, it was a good shout that it was raining, actually, because we probably would have fainted or been very dehydrated, or so it wouldn't have been great. Somebody would have got ill in the heat. You know, got to be careful in the heat and the sun. I've grown up with a family where it's very much a factor 50. Wear your sun hat, wear your big sunglasses, wear a shirt to cover your arms and shoulders and that kind of thing. Cultured family where it's like, yeah, factor 50. You guys know, I've said this before on the podcast, but I when it's hot or sunny outside, I dress like a newborn ginger baby vampire. So I'm like, give me all the sun cream. But anyway, so yes, it did rain a little bit, but you know what? It was still very warm. Like, I was wearing summer dresses, shorts, skirts, that kind of thing every day, because it was still warm. It was just, you know, a little bit of rain. It was kind of like tropical rain. So it was humid. It was nice. It was good. It was good. So our first day, we decided to just have like a little walk around, a bit of an explore of Nice. There's this kind of castle area on the top of the hill. So we walked on the beach, went up there, had a little explore. I'm a little bit of a history nerd, so I love when I go to different places or new places, finding out the history about places and all that kind of stuff. So and then while we were walking around, there was some really like pretty kind of like park at the top of the hill, and we obviously saw the whole view of Nice. Would have been nicer if it was sunnier, but again, it was nice and cool, so it was fine. And then we were walking around, and then we saw this train. Now, I don't know, not many people will know what I mean when I say this, but my grandparents live near Eastbourne, so in the summer holidays we would go to Eastbourne quite a lot, and we would go on this train when I was a kid called the Dotto train. I feel like only Eastbourne people are going to be like, I know what you mean, I know the Dotto train, but everyone else could be like, girl, what are you going on about? But they had a train which was like the Dotto train, and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, we need to go on the train. So why not? Why wouldn't you want to go on this train? So it it looked like a train at the front, but it was actually on wheels. It wasn't like on a track or anything. And it did like a little tour, so you got like a little headset and got to listen to it. So we went on the train all the way back down to the beach, and I can't lie, the trip was a little bit shorter than I was expecting, but we had so much fun, and I had like a little headset telling you about the history of Nice and about, I don't know, wars and battles that went on in the harbour and that kind of stuff. So that was really interesting. We're like, that was really good fun. And then we're like, do you know what we should do the next day, tomorrow? We should go on the hop and stop bus. Now, my grandma is she loves a bit of traveling. So she was like, girl, my grandma's very lucky that she's been to lots of different places. She was like, if you ever go to a foreign country or somewhere new, get on the hop and stop bus. And we were going to do that on the first day, but it was a little bit rainy, and we were like, open top bus in the rain might not be the best thing. So we went on that, and honestly, 10 out of 10. If you go to Nice, go on the hop. This sounds like some sort of advert, but it was great because you got to sit there, you got to wear your little headphones, and it basically was like a little tour guide telling you about all the different things. They were like, over here is Elton John's house, and we're like, we hadn't been on the hop and stop bus, we wouldn't have known that was his house. That was quite cool. I feel like that's not like the most interesting thing that we saw, but for some reason it just stuck in my mind. So yeah, it was like, did a little bit of a tour, and then once you've done the hop and stop bus, you can see all the places that you can go to, and you'll be like, oh, that place, that actually looked really good, let's go there tomorrow. But if you do the hop and stop bus at the end of the trip, you might have missed out on something really cool. So we did that. We did get a little bit wet in the rain, but again, it was fun. I mean, we're British gals. We're used to the rain. So we did that on the second day. Also, rewind. First day afternoon, we went to the beach. And I tell you what, the sea was actually quite warm. It was very strange, though, because the top of the sea was actually a little bit more on the chilly side. But the bottom of the sea, it was actually very warm. So we were all like trying to like dangle our legs down to the bottom bit to get the warmth. And there was one point where me and my friend Laura, we were like, oh, let's swim out. Let's swim out to sea, because I love a good open water swim. You know, I love swim. I don't care. I am that person. If there is some sort of water that I can swim in, you best believe I'm going for a swim. So much so that I have an emergency swimming costume and towel in the back of my car. So if I ever end up going somewhere like the beach spontaneously and I want to go for a swim, I got everything I need. So anyway, so we went for a swim, and I can't lie, we swam out quite far, and my friend Lucy and Hannah were on the beach, and they were like, guys, come back. And we were like, let's tease them, let's swim out a little bit further, and they were freaking out. But me and my friend Laura were very strong swimmers. And also, this is my little Esme safety announcement in today's podcast, because this is something that my mum tells me every time I go swimming in the sea from a young age. Like, I've had this drilled into my brain, and that is what to do if there is a riptide. If you don't know what a riptide is, it's basically where you're swimming in the sea, and then, you know, normally how the tide kind of pushes you back to the shore. It's basically where it's kind of in reverse, and it basically, the sea takes you out into the ocean. And a lot of the time, if there is a riptide and you try to swim back to the shore, you can't, because the current is too strong. It's pushing you out. So if that ever happens to you, don't swim back to shore, swim sideways. And then hopefully, if you carry on swimming sideways, you'll get to the end of the riptide, and then you can swim back to shore. So there we go. That is my little top tip for any of you guys who are swimming. But yes, always make sure that there's a lifeguard, and be careful when swimming in the sea. That is my Esme safety briefing. Esme out. Anyway, sorry, I don't know what that was. But yeah, so I am definitely that safety person, where I was like making sure that nobody was getting sunburnt, putting all their sun cream on. I was making sure that everyone knew about riptides. And also, I was like the walking pharmacy. That's what I always get told by my friends. Like, if you need some painkillers, I got it. If you need a plaster because you've got a rub in your shoes or whatever, I got a plaster. So I am that go-to gal. But no, so we had like a nice little beach afternoon, went out for dinner. I had a lot of pizza and a lot of pasta on that trip, because it's the part of France that's kind of like near Italy or influenced by Italy. So there was a lot of pizza and pasta, which I can't complain about. I love Italian food. If you want to know what my favourite food is, I'm basically anything that involves cheese or melted cheese is my favourite. I'd say maybe halloumi fries. Like, if there's ever halloumi fries on a menu, you best believe that is what I'm going for as a starter. So yeah, anything with halloumi and or anything with melted cheese. So anyway, I had a lot of good food while I was away. A lot of good food. But yeah, and then what other things did we get up to? So yeah, we went on a little hop and stop bus, and that actually took us to a new village, which was so pretty. And we were like, oh, we should have brought our swimming costumes with us, because we found the most beautiful beach. So if you are in Nice or want to go on holiday to Nice or the south of France, I would say always make sure you have a bikini or swimming costume with you in case you want to go for a spontaneous swim in the sea, because the beach at Nice, it was nice, it was all right, but oh my gosh, all of the other towns and places that we went to, it was just a lot quieter, a lot prettier. So I'd say if you want to have a beach day, go to a different town. So we went to, on our third day, we had a little bit more of a going out and exploring day. So we actually got the train, went to the train station, and oh my gosh, it was absolute chaos at the train station, because for some reason they're like little scanning. So we ordered all of our train tickets online using, with the online train tickets, you get like a little QR code thing that you scan in your Apple Wallet or whatever. They weren't working. And you know what? Nobody else's tickets are working. So there was just this long queue of all these people trying to get through, and nobody was getting through. And then in the end, they were just like, release the hounds, release the barriers. So they just opened up the barriers and just let everyone through, because they were like chaos. Anyway, we made it onto the train in time, and that was all good. Got a seat. And so we decided to go down to this cute little village that we saw online called, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, I apologize. It's either called Eze or it's called Eze. It's E-Z-E, and then the E has an accent on. So of course I was like, Eze and Eze, or Eze and Ez. So that was very fun. But anyway, so we went there, and the train station is at the bottom of the hill, and the main sort of village where everything to do is at the top of the hill. And we were like, I was like, let's go onto Google Maps and let's see how long it's going to take us to get to the top of the hill. An hour. Now, normally, when Google Maps says, something's going to take an hour, I'm a fast walker, and I'm like, that'll take 45 minutes. But when I saw how steep the hill was, we were like, we messed up. We should not have got the train. We should have got some sort of other transport. So anyway, there was a bus for €2 that went to the top. But when we saw the queue of all the people that were going to get the bus, we were like, this ain't going to be good. It's not going to work out. So we were like, you know what? Let's walk down to the beach, because we were at the bottom of the hill. We had a nice little beach morning. I have come to the conclusion that I am the sort of person where I just don't get bored. You could leave me anywhere in the world, and I could be in a blank room and I would find something to do in my brain, because I don't know. We like, some people would find just sitting on the beach really boring, which I can't lie. I do like I am more of an activity holiday than a beach holiday kind of gal. But I had so much fun, even though I didn't have my bikini to go for a swim. I went for a little paddle, and we saw loads of fish. Like, I basically did, I was going to say, I did out of water snorkeling. I think that's the best way to describe it, because there were loads of little rock pools on this like jetty. So I was looking at all the anemones and that kind of thing. Like, I am a bit of a underwater sea creature nerd, because when I was younger, I was very lucky where my family, actually they were planning on moving to Australia at one point. So I was actually homeschooled for 2-3 months, where we travelled around Australia. So my parents are like, what do we teach this child apart from like English, maths, that kind of thing? That's how I learned all my times tables. We did all of my times tables in the car. And so much so that my brother, who was younger than me, knew all of his times tables by the age of 6, because I think I was 8 at the time and he was 6. So when we went back to school, our teachers were like, oh my gosh, how does Max know like the 8 and the 9s and the 7 times tables? Which, he's ahead of the game, but also my brother is very intelligent and clever. But anyway, this is very off topic. But yeah, I am a little bit of a nerd when it comes to any sort of sea creatures, fish, that kind of thing. Like, if you ever take me to an aquarium, I could name the majority of the fish. Don't hold me to it, but black tip reef shark, that kind of thing. Like, I was like a little Australian child for a little bit. I say a little bit, 2-3 months. But anyway, so I love anything to do with like snorkeling, that kind of thing, fish. So I was just like standing in with my friend Lucy, and we're just paddling, watching the fish, watching the world go by. I think also one of the reasons I was saying again why I just don't get bored is because I've been on lots of different like car journeys, or as I said before, I'm very lucky that I get to travel a lot with my job, so I'm very good at keeping myself occupied. But anyway, so we had a little chill down there, and then we were like, okay, this bus, the queue's too long, like, we're just not going to fit on this bus, it's not going to be fun. So I was designated as language girl when we were on our trip, because none of my friends could really speak French, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm a bilingual gal, but I can speak French to get my way through life. I think that's the best way to describe it. Could I have a deep conversation in French? No. I'm definitely better at understanding than speaking. Writing is probably my worst thing, but to be fair, when you go away in a foreign country, you don't really need to write in French unless you kind of like, or in their language, unless you kind of like live there. But I can speak to get by. So a lot of the time they were like, Esme, you order the taxi. So anyway, we managed to find a tourist office. So if you ever get stuck in a foreign country, go to a tourist office. And I walked in being like, bonjour, tu parles anglais? And then the lady was actually Italian. She was like, yeah, I speak English. And I was like, oh, great. So it was kind of like this weird thing where we were both from different countries speaking not our mother tongue. Is that the word? Is that what people say? So, and anyway, she then phoned a taxi for us and did all the speaking for us and being like, yeah, we got some gals. They'd like to go up the mountain or up the hill. Can you get us a taxi? So we got this like party bus, and it ended up being cheaper because there was this Italian family, and they were there with their son, and there were two lovely ladies, and they were very lovely. We ended up chatting all the way up the hill. But yeah, we had a lovely old time in our little party bus, and ended up being cheaper because we had the Italian family with us. So we were like, great, perfect. And then so we got to the top of the other kind of Eze village, and up there was a lot to do. There was a really beautiful garden that we went to right at the top of the hill, and there were so many cacti, succulents. I was in my element, as you guys know. I love a good garden. I was like, this is like Kew Gardens on steroids, but like in real life, because, it wasn't in like a little greenhouse, because it was an actual warm country where, the cacti could live outside. And I was like, wow. And they had like a little waterfall. It was so pretty. So that was probably one of my favorite things that we did. And then we went and had some lunch there. I was so proud of myself. We had like a bit of an earlier lunch. So we managed to bag a table, and we had the most beautiful view. I was like, guys, this restaurant looks good. And we went to it, and the food in France is just 10 out of 10. And then after that, they had like a little perfume factory kind of place where they made perfume and soap and lots of other like nice smelly things like body washes, reed diffusers, that kind of stuff. So we went on a tour. It was a free tour as well. So I'd recommend that. That was really good fun. And then we got to like do little smell samples, all the different perfumes. Then we got to rank which one our favourite was. I think I quite like fruity perfumes, or florally kind of ones that are a little bit musky, not really for me. But anyway, so that was good fun. And then after that, we had a very busy day, because after that we were like, okay, let's go to Monaco. So we're like, it does sound very random, because obviously Monaco is a whole new country. So we're like, let's just go to a new country for the day. So yeah, we didn't even need our passports or any ID or anything like that. The taxi driver just drove us in. So again, had to go to another tourist office and be like, bonjour, tu parles anglais? Sorry, that anybody that is French is going to be like, Esme, that is the worst accent ever. But you know what? I was proud of myself, because every time that I like ordered an ice cream, sorry, I've been going on about ice cream a lot in today's podcast. Every time I ordered an ice cream or ordered like dinner or bought something from a shop, I spoke in French. And you know what? A lot of the time, us English people, us UK or British people, we are not known for, I always feel bad, because most of the time, us lot, we're not good with languages. We just go to a different country and just speak in English, because to be fair, a lot of countries and a lot of people do speak English, but it's like, girl, you should not assume that everyone speaks English. Try and at least know how to say please and thank you, or please could I have. So I did order all of my food and in French, and to be fair, a lot of the waiters were impressed. I mean, maybe because the bar is so low for British people speaking a foreign language that they were like, wow, this girl has actually made an effort. So there we go. Anyway, so I was, I did all the lingo in France. It definitely wasn't very good, but I tried my best. So anyway, we got our taxi to Monaco, and I can't lie, it wasn't the place for me. Maybe because I'm not a billionaire, so I feel like Monaco would be a really fun place to go to if you had fat stacks of cash to blow away and have an amazing time. But me and the girls, it wasn't that kind of trip. It wasn't that kind of vibe. So it was definitely fun to go to, and I'm very glad that I went there because, as you guys know, I'm a Formula One girly. I was the only girl in the group that was a Formula One girly. So I was like, guys, we need to go to this bit because this is where the pits are. And we need to go to this bit because this is where the iconic like hairpin corner is. And they were just like, Esme, what? So my friend has this video that I'll probably like post at some stage. My friend has this video that she filmed of me, and she was like, they were just like, Esme is so excited about this corner and we don't know why. And then there's like me dancing on the corner. And also at the end of the video, they were like, cross the road. And obviously I was like, I need to check before I cross. So I did run. The car was far enough away that it was fine because I was running. You probably shouldn't run when you cross the road because if you trip up, then that is not going to be great. You are going to get run over. I feel like this whole podcast has just been me trying to give out health and safety advice. I'm like, guys, please don't hurt yourselves. Please don't injure yourselves. Anyway, there is a video where it looks like I'm about to get hit by a car. I don't. I'm safe. I'm fine. But anyway, so that was quite funny. So basically, Monaco was just me giving a tour to the girls of the F1 track. So there we go. We didn't buy anything in Monaco, like we didn't eat anything or buy any drinks or that kind of thing because everything was just, it was, there were a lot of designer shops and a lot of expensive fancy restaurants. And I know there's going to be people, there might be some Monegasque people listening to this being like, Esme, you should have gone here, you should have done this, you shouldn't have done this. No, there is some affordable places, but where we were definitely in all the kind of tourist traps and also all the places where there was, yeah, very, very expensive. But you know what? I enjoyed having a little walk around. I enjoyed looking at all the super yachts and that kind of thing. But would I hurry back there? Probably not, unless for some reason I became a billionaire overnight. But anyway, so there we go. Or if a billionaire was like, hey gal, want to come to Monaco with me? So anyway, there we go. That was our kind of, we weren't in Monaco for very long. We were there for like a few hours and then we're like, okay, we've had a very busy day. You know, we did the beach, we did the garden, we did the perfume factory, and we did Monaco all in one day. So we were like, okay, let's go back to Nice. We got the train back. I can't lie. If you have any sort of claustrophobia, did I say that correctly? Claustrophobia? Yeah, if you're claustrophobic or if you have like sensory issues, taking the train at rush hour from Monaco to Nice will not be the one for you. Because it felt like we were like sardined into this one train. Now, I do get a little bit claustrophobic, but I've done enough travel where I'm like, I can get through this. It's going to be okay. So my top tips for if you get a bit claustrophobic or sensory overload is I always carry a pair of headphones with me or like earbuds. But I'm a little bit retro. I'm not about the AirPod life because I know that if I have AirPods, number one, I will lose a pair. And number two, I just will forget to charge them, so they'll never get used. It'll just be a waste of money because they're also very expensive. So I am that person that has those retro kind of iPhone headphones, and I will just carry them everywhere with me. So if I'm ever in a busy place and I just feel a bit overwhelmed, I just put them in. And also my little life hack, especially like if I'm in an airport and I just don't want to feel like I'm in an airport and I'm sitting on the floor, I'm like hanging about, or I just want, you know, some white noise. On my phone, I always have downloaded, so if I don't have any Wi-Fi or 4G or signal, I can still listen to it. This probably sounds really sad, but I always have rain noise on my phone. I don't know, this is really weird. So if I'm on like a train, I can just like put my headphones in, sit on the floor if there's like no place for me to sit down, and listen to my rain noise. And I'm like, just please, can someone just tap me on the shoulder when we get to our destination so I don't get left on the train? And I'll just sit there. And I'm not aware that I'm in a very small little box with lots of people pressed up against me, and I'm just like, I'm in my own little world, and I'm very good at I am actually that person that I'm very used to being. I'm very good at being in my own little dream world. Like a lot of the time, to be fair, me and my friend Laura, we're very fast walkers, so we'll just be like walking along in our little dream world, that kind of thing, and then we'll realise, or we'll start chatting and we'll turn around and the rest of the three friends will like be miles behind. We'll be like, whoopsies. But yes, I am very good at daydreaming as well, and just, yeah, blocking out the rest of the world. I don't know if that's a skill or not, but anyway. So yeah, we got home, we had some food and had an early night because we were shattered. And that was pretty much our trip. Our last day, we went to the Nice Museum, which was very fun. It was actually very, very cool that it was like a old kind of house, palacey kind of thing. So that was very fancy, looking around all the rooms and all the history of that. Again, history nerd, love learning about things like that. And then we went on to the next floor. And the next floor was a very different vibe. So, the next floor was lots of paintings. So that was fun, like a little art gallery. It was the floor above that, so the second floor or the third floor for my American friends, that had an art gallery, but that was very different art. So we went from fancy oil paintings of Nice and old photographs from back in the day, to some sort of weird French art exhibition about some guy that does like little cartoony kind of things about sport, and there was some not so family friendly photos there, and we were like, what is going on? We were not expecting that. So anyway, that was a bit of a jump scare, but apart from that was pretty much our trip to Nice. We had like a nice little beach day, we just went to the beach a lot. We did a lot of swimming, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love swimming. People often ask me, Esme, apart from horse riding, what's your go-to like favorite sport or activity? And I'd probably say swimming or rock climbing. I do like rock climbing, although I haven't done it so much lately, but that is a proper workout. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about my adventures in Nice and also my dad looking after the horses. So if you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. It's a funny one. I enjoyed it anyway. But yeah, on that note, I just want to say another huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring today's podcast and also for having me last week for my meet and greet. Again, you guys are all so lovely, and I will see you all in the next episode. See ya. Bye.